Hello, good morning. How are you all doing today? Happy Tuesday today. Slightly different day than our previous streams, but this week we're going to be going with Tuesday, Thursday. I had some stuff I had to take care of yesterday, and tomorrow I'm also got some stuff that I can't necessarily stream around. Rigel, hello. How are you doing today? And Asitsu, hello. How are you? So the plan is that we're going to continue with the HTTP CodeCrafters course challenge. We finished the main part of the challenge last time, and now we're on to the extension, which is all about compression. I was going to say encryption, but that's not right. And compression. And after that's done, if we have time, we can start on the next project that I have lined up, or we'll just save it for Thursday. And it'll be fun. Everything's all good, Rigel? Excellent. That's good to hear. Okay, so let's actually take a look at what we're supposed to be doing here. So, compression headers. Welcome to the HTTP compression extension. In this extension, you'll add support for compression to your HTTP server. In this stage, you'll add support for the accept encoding and content encoding headers. Twisted Seed, hello. How are you doing today? Accept encoding and content encoding. An HTTP client uses the accept encoding header to specify the compression schemes it supports. In the following example, the client specifies that it supports the gzip compression scheme. Okay, so accept encoding gzip. Okay, that kind of makes sense. The server then chooses one of the compression schemes listed in accept encoding and compresses the response body with it. So I'm assuming this is like a comma-based list, like a stringified comma-based list. Then, okay, so then the server sends a response with the compressed body and a content encoding header. Content encoding specifies the compression scheme that was used. In the following example, the response body is compressed with gzip. So, content encoding, gzip. Okay, everything else is pretty much the same. If the server doesn't support any of the compression schemes specified by the client, then it will not compress the response body. Instead, it will send a standard response and omit the content encoding header. For this extension, assume that your server only supports the gzip compression scheme, which is perfectly fine. And I want to say, do we need to pull in a gzip library? I wonder if we need to do that. For this stage, you don't need to compress the body. Oh, okay. For this stage, we don't need to compress the body. You'll implement compression in a later stage. The tester will execute your program like this. The tester will then send two GET requests to echo string and point. First, the tester will send a request with this header, accept encoding gzip. Your server response must contain this header, content encoding gzip, with of course, without the thing. So that's fine. Aluminum, hello, how are you doing today? And Fuforat, hello, how are you? Just want to thank you about the Axum Jot authentication video. Is really good. Helped you implement your application. Awesome. I'm glad that helped out. Is it ideal to use anyhow and this error together? Yeah, I'd say it is. Usually I would use this error to create a custom error, like maybe in an enum, and then anyhow as the result and bail and thing like handling the errors and the results directly in functions. This errors to generate maybe more like global application-wide errors. Although a lot recently, I haven't been using this error that much. I've just been like responding with generic errors or just like, oh, hey, it's like a one-off error. It's doing its thing and just put the message in there. So I could see going back and forth on something like that. But yeah, it's generally used together, and especially in a lot of examples online. All right, so we are going to receive a content a content not encoding, and accept encoding gzip. It says it's going to send two requests, right? First that, and then one without something, and it should just be nothing at all. So if we take a look at this, in our, is it request? I don't need to remember how this works. So it's not the routes. I think it's the request. Oh, and this actually just gets the headers and it stuffs them in there. Okay, so actually, you know what? This is just, we're probably going to do this all in the response, aren't we? Okay, so here's like, if we have the response, we figure out, we add in the headers and we do all that stuff. And in, oh, I bet we need the request in here so I can get the headers out of it. That's what we're going to need. We're going to need the request. And with that, we can get the headers, which I wonder, I don't really feel a need to like grab that out early. Where do I respond with all this stuff? Okay, so where do I hit the headers? Response content like header, writing headers. Okay, so it's writing the protocol, then the response code, CRLF for headers. So this is the end of the headers right here. If the body is so I guess I don't have any other headers in here, so like it's probably right here. So I would essentially want to do an if let sum, and I want to see if we get that accept type, right? If let sum, what was it called? The accept encoding. And this is going to be the request headers get. Was this stored lowercase or uppercase? I think it was lowercase, right? To lowercase. Okay. So we're going to get accept encoding. Okay, so we get that. That'll give us a string, which is the value of it. If let sum, we do that. And if we don't have anything in here, we don't do anything, and it'll be fine. So then we check to see if this is gzip, because the only accepted body. Oh, and there's the body here. So this is just if we're doing this. Oh, okay. So I might want to pull this out so I can have access to accept encoding separately. Okay. So instead of if, we'll just do let sum equals this. Do an else. Should you be an option? If we make you an option, I just do that. You become an option with the string, and then I can grab out. So in here, then before we write the body, we would gzip this. So at this point, we would do if accept encoding is some and this would be encoding, and I want encoding. I probably should to lowercase this just in case. So if you're equal to 2 lowercase, then we're going to write out to the stream, and I believe it is not the content type. It is in content encoding. Yeah, I think it's that, right? Is it equals or is it colon? I think it's colon, right? It doesn't say. Oh, content type colon. Yeah. Okay. So that's exactly it. So content type. Where am I? Response. And then this will be gzip, like that. Which I need to context writing content encoding gzip header. You become that. But now I have accept encoding, so I can do this again over in body later. So this, I mean, I'm guessing that this should just work as is. And I kind of want to just test this and just see if it actually does the thing. So let's find out. There it goes. What did we do? We added content encoding header response. And let's find out if this works. In the meantime, let's see. Oh, Rigel, do I have a video on how I configured my Alacrity and Helix? I don't know if I have a specific video of how I configured Alacrity and Helix, because I did configure them on stream, but I didn't like really turn it into a video. So it's kind of like over a couple different places. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I do have some configurations, but I think they might be out of date, the ones I have online. So I might need to redo those. We failed. What did you fail with? Let's make this bigger. How do I resize? There we go. Okay, so you download. Oh, yeah. Oops. Probably should have looked at errors. errors first. That's the problem about not actually executing and running it, is to see that. Okay, so send response. We need the request to come in here, which I think we have the request, right? So I can just hand it the request. Ooh, because the request got moved into the router. So if possible, I'd like to make the request not take ownership. Oh, yeah, and that's just fine. I never needed ownership of the request in the router. I just gave it ownership because at the time I didn't need it. But we're okay now. No errors, no warnings. Let's try this again. So this is passing in the request to the response. I guess it's really module. And let's see if this works. Do I mind sharing that clip? The problem is I don't have a clip, and I don't remember when I did it in stream. It might have been like multiple streams too. So unfortunately, Rigel, I don't think I have that. At least not an easy way. But when this is done and we finish this step, I can show you what I have really quickly. It's actually really simple, and there's not really much that you need to do for Alacrity or for Helix. Crazy Frog, hello. How are you doing today? Things are going pretty good. Okay, build successful. Now it's run. Let's see if those work. Failed. So it ran, accept encoding gzip, headers, accept encoding gzip. Okay, so we got those. About to parse body, got body none, received, coding gzip. Oh, so I had the accept encoding gzip. Expected, oh, a CRLF after the header value, right. Forgot that you're supposed to have a CRLF after this. So RN, there, like that. Okay, let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, so now it passed those tests. Let's take an aside for you, Rigel, and we'll take a look at some Alacrity and Helix stuff. So first off, I guess one question is it just Alacrity and Helix, or is it also Zellage? Because we get all this, like the window management stuff, these down here and this up here, that is Zellage for me. Let's do, what do I have? Open up config for this. Config, Alacrity. So I was playing around with breaking them out because I think you actually can break these out into different files. I don't remember if I actually do that. But with my Alacrity toml file, which is that the new one? I think the Alacrity toml is the new one. This is all that I have in here. It's really simple. I basically just have live config reload true. So if I make any changes to this, it does the thing. I import the font, so I can change that to be whatever I want at any time, and it just sort of does the thing. And then I set like some environment variables in here as opposed to my ZSHRC, sort of playing around with that so I can use a different terminal and not have that effect. And window, like tell it what like that we're using a dark theme, and when I select things, it saves it to the clipboard. So that's pretty much it. This is all I have. And then if we go and take a look at the font.toml, this is what I have in here. We're using Iosevka. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. But yeah, this is what I got for that. It's pretty simple. For Helix, again, pretty simple here. For our config.toml, I have a lot more things that I sort of played around with it. I'm using the Adwaita Dark theme by default. The Twitch integration that I created for the Stream Manager broke, so which is not that surprising. Twitch keeps on making changes to their API, which breaks things, which is not that great. We need to figure out something for that besides just saying, okay, I'll just go with, JavaScript for the server, which is boring, but maybe we have to do that. Editor. Okay, so a lot of these things are just sort of based like how I like things. So like relative here, you can see that it's the real line number that I'm on and relative for everything else. For some of these, I forget exactly what they do. But like cursor line, I think gives me this entire line, so you can. It's easier for you all to see what line I'm on. I put in. I have something that shows. Oh, version control shows down here in the center instead of off to the left. I just felt that was a little bit nicer to look at. Display inline hints. This is false by default, or at least it used to be. So I turned that on. I like the insert to be a bar. Otherwise, it's default. It's the same as the other one. I like to show it very different. Let's see. I don't know if there's too much more that's sort of like interesting. If you have any questions about any of these, please feel free to ask. But this is the config, and then what I have for languages is just this. And I added in Rust for Rust Analyzer, and also that it uses Clippy, and we added in TypeScript so we can use TypeScript type stuff. And that's all you really need to have Helix work with TypeScript and Rust. Saran Hirok, hello. How are you doing today? Does that answer your question, Rigel?